Hey everyone, starting a stream of a game between um, John and Owen. So just checking now if everything looks fine. Okay, let me check. Is this looking okay? I don't know if I can see the chat. Okay, I don't know if there is anybody looking. If anybody is looking and can confirm, you can hear the sound. So they are going quite fast. So actually we already have something to review. Let's go on the review now. Okay, so let's start here. So Owen is black. He's 2Q, but quite strong and having good performances these days. He has beaten a lot of Dan players. John is a very strong 1 Dan, so he's not 2 Dan officially, I think, but I think his level is close to 2 Dan. He has very good reading, and Owen actually is also. They are not making. Both these players are not making a lot of mistakes, so that should be an interesting game. And we can see both players probably want to avoid the new opening with Sansan invasion and things like that. So they both play Komuku, which is quite common now because a lot of people are fed up with the Sansan and the Hoshi and this kind of opening. The facing Komuku on the right, though, is not so common. So it's, I would say, quite an attacking position. Usually, if white comes in, so usually black will be able to take, let's take an old Chimerian. If white comes in, I think the tradition is you can play very quickly a pincer, or or you can take Sente and approach white. So the facing Komuku really invites, I would say, white to come in to take Sente and be able to come in quickly. And we can see this is going, black is trying to get to be fast, basically. Okay, so white goes for this high pincer that I personally really love. And actually they are playing it this way. Okay, so what happens, I can tell you already what the AI recommends. He recommends to jump once and play away. So that's absolutely possible now for black to play away, because in a way he got I would say a step outside, and it's not so easy to close the area in one move for white. So let's say black plays elsewhere. You can see that at any point anyway, black can jump in the corner. He can also do a contact on the other side. So white could be over concentrated. So usually white could also try to chase black in the center. Or white could jump and try to enclose black on a large scale. So it's not so easy to do something immediately for white against the two black stones. So black could play away. Another common move is this one that makes me of, I would say, this contact and this contact. Maybe I should, can I remove the sound here? Oh yeah, here. So that's a common follow-up. And again, white can jump out and black can connect. And that's a traditional sequence here. Black can play it just this way. Black get territory, white is very strong on the outside. Black can try that. Of course, if it's like that, there is a bit more weaknesses in white shape. but actually I studied that with the AI, and the AI recommends to cut. And I won't even try to go into the complicated variations that follow up because it's super complex, but it seems to be quite okay for white. Overall, you know that AI don't like pincer, so they really prefer not to play the pincer initially, but overall you still get a reasonable result usually. But black plays completely differently, so black plays um, straight away pushing. So I think you can play that, but it gives a lot of point to white. So I don't know if they play with or without komi, so that would be important to know. Let me check if they say that. Okay, no komi, so there is no komi, so because there is a 2 stone difference between the two players. So it's a bit more reasonable than for black to play this way. With a komi, it's usually very difficult to give so much point to white straight away. Another way to play could be this. I don't know if you can do that with a high pincer though. So, but pushing is usually considered bad. You push from behind. You give points to white. So you really have to make something out of the strength you built. And because white stone is quite high, it won't be easy to harass it. It's easy in a way for white to get out in the center. So personally, I never push just because I think it gives too much point. But because the game is even game with no komi, I think it's doable. Because black basically wants to keep the fight and keep the initiative. So I think recently, maybe I'm mistaken, but I think really recently Eoghan was playing quite fighting games. He is actually quite strong in fights. So he's trying to get the game in a style he likes. And John is also quite strong in fights. And John is very strong in the physique in general. So that's why it's very interesting to see the directions of play of these two players when they start the game. Okay, so white decides, as I said, the stone on the fourth line is super difficult to handle for black. And let's say black really wants to capture it. So first of all, white still has the Kosumi, which is really making black over concentrated. And there is still a lot of agi, like even if it's moved like that, you can see it won't be that easy to capture this stone completely. So I think it's a good strategy to leave the stone, because if you start running now, like that maybe, well, you will be in for a running game, and obviously black wanted that, and you don't want to give black exactly what he wanted, right? So let's say something like that. You can see black gets a nice nose outside. He's chasing white. He will probably build the right hand side while doing so. Anyway, so white plays lightly. And this, okay. I'm not sure. So, you know, when you play this kind of move on the fourth line, there is a bit more agi with this kind of move. So of course not immediately, but if you get a stone like here, then suddenly this weak point at P17 is really hard to cover for black. So let's say, for example, black, there is still the weak point at P17, and now there is another problem around here, so black might want to cover it. So overall, I never really like this shape, but I know it can be played, so I think it has some good points to it. It's high, it put a bit more pressure on the white stones. Here, because the K16 stone is, I would say, high, I don't see the point. I don't see why black wouldn't just play this way, because it makes a nice shape with K16. But it's just really a shape. Here, you can feel that this is painful for the future. I'm pretty sure at some point white will play M17. Okay, so white goes all out. So I think that might be too much. First of all, it's too far away from the stone, so you will be pincer. Of course, if black plays this way, you're super happy and you can make a kind of double extension. But with the stone at O16 and the wall on the left, I don't see why it would be bad for black to trigger an attack. And I don't see what can come out for white, which would be good out of this attack. Let's say if you jump out, you help black making the points. And if you try to counterattack, well, I don't know, something like that. I mean, you're helping black basically creating a big influence area on the top, and you already have a weak stone at G16, and you have now 3 more stones. So I personally don't like this move, but at the very least, I would play high just to make sure, you know, it's a bit more difficult to pincer. But I think in this position, it's better to be strong because, okay, let's say black plays here, happy days. You can either extend or play a shimmery yourself, or if you feel adventurous, you can come in. But I think white can really just play a move like that, or maybe try to play at the border of the two moyos. So okay. Anyway, so let's see what black does. Okay, so black is nice and plays nicely. I really don't see why you couldn't pincer here. I mean, white is going all out, trying to get the maximum space for his group, and now he kind of succeeded. So, yeah, I think maybe black lost an opportunity to use his strength on the left, triggering a fight. Okay, that seems natural. You don't want to leave, I mean, corners are usually the biggest area of the board, so there is still an open corner, so you want to come in. Okay, so probably again the AI would play here, even with the stone on the top to help white. And we would go into this kind of variations, which we all know are painful. Or this. Or something like that. Anyway, so the thing is with this stone and this stone on the top, maybe white can play more forcefully. There are so many variations, I don't even want to try to go into them, but probably black didn't feel comfortable pushing and being cut in this very white environment, so he just goes to settle quickly. Makes sense. I think it's maybe there is a still local, a small local loss, but I don't think it's a big deal. Oh, okay. So this is a bit surprising. I think white says basically because black is so surrounded by white, he doesn't have to add a move. But I still think this kind of move is really painful. I mean, you don't want to be surrounded, so you have to basically poke your nose out. But now you have a weak group basically, and by doing that, naturally, you will be giving options for black to just attack your white stones. I know you have weak groups, and so I really think black should play one straight away. Like this is too much. Usually white at this stage will play something like that, or if you really want to remove black eye space, you can do it straight away, or you can just try to push this way, but I think the most common would be just a kind of extension this way. And I mean, black is a bit under pressure, right? Because white is super strong, so maybe black can play this turn straight away, or try to go out. I don't think black will play here. I mean, he can, but then again, he will be chased. And that means probably at some point it will go into his moyo on the top. So now, for example, if white plays a move on the top, you can see black is super busy all over the place, and white is making points naturally. You can see the 4-5 exchanges helping white build up points. Okay. So black is first attacking on the other side. Sorry, I'm just checking if there is anybody in the chat, just to make sure I'm not missing some people talking. So okay, it makes sense also to trigger another fight, but for me, basically that's 2 times in a row that white is going too far. Here and now here, and black is not punishing him. It's like it's okay to play too far, 2 or 3 space further away from the space where you should go. So I don't think it's okay, and you should punish it right away. So okay, then so black is going really all out, trying to invade, and I think the strategy of black is quite clear. He's trying to remove as much territory as he can from white. But personally, I mean, let's even imagine something simple, I would say, like that. I find that very, very distasteful that white can cut here. It's like it's suddenly putting all white stones together, building the center. Suddenly this attack doesn't make sense anymore. So I find this is really a vital point of the whole board. So personally, at this stage, there is some agi in the R8 stone. So I would just be patient, because if white add a stone now, no, it's really a problem for white. So white will lose something here, and it's not like the black stone is dead. I mean, this move is still here, and I mean there are plenty of options where you can try to exploit the edge. So there is no easy way for white again to capture in one stone. This playing this kind of move is really painful. So again, that's just maybe a little impatience, I would say, by black to do something straight away without strengthening himself first. And I think there is no rush here. So let's see what happens. Okay, so white plays very solid, like he doesn't mind losing the territory. And now black plays here. So you can see if black is going to crawl, I think in a way white is saying, okay, happy days, I played L3 and now it's territory. So I think it's too nice to push. Okay, not sure to understand what this push brought to black. It doesn't help him that much go in the center. And if it's to play here now, if white play here, it's super big. Like it's a very good shape move, and the white shape is all consolidated at the bottom. So just compare with this kind of sequence. I think white shape is much more a burden. Black shape is nearly alive in the corner. If you compare with that, that's a big difference. So now white has two plays where you want to play. Like the first one would be here. The second one would be here. And both are very tempting. So I guess the question is, can black try to play this? It sounds very unreasonable to me, but I mean, even if you just play this way, oops. So the ladder is good for black, so I guess it doesn't work. But even just this way, I mean, it's not really good for black. It just gave the full strength to white now in the center. So suddenly, I guess an invasion is possible, or maybe just playing safe again. So I think really cutting is more forceful than playing this, which is really not. I mean, if you compare this with this shape now, it sounds very nice for black. It looks very nice for black. But again, this move is tempting too, because or maybe first take this, you take points, you attack the shape. If black tries to leave locally, you get a super strong outside, so not even sure this is alive yet. So I kind of like that for white. but I would cut personally. This move again, maybe a bit too nice, and black immediately takes the shape. Okay, and goes out. Okay, so black relies on the fact that he can connect at any point. Is it really at any point? So I'm not sure. Can you play something like that? I don't know. Okay, doesn't seem to be. So anyway, I think black wants to keep this door open to connect his stone, but I mean, what's the... I think you need to solidify yourself a bit first, no? I understand that basically black wants to start attacking this group here to build the top, but leaving the Ponuki in the center, so I don't think white can go out at all. That's too dangerous, so you have to sacrifice. That looks really painful for black now. So I think this is slightly overplay. Okay, this Atari, why in this direction? I mean, black will connect. Okay, you keep Sente, but this Ponuki looks so nice. Like with such a Ponuki, first of all, you can attack this super strongly, very, very strongly. And second, there is then possibility to attack this group because you have the Ponuki. It's much more difficult for black to run. Whereas this shape, okay, well, if black, well, I think black has to answer here just to keep the cutting point. Because there is a cutting point here. And if black answers here, then you can play away. But here, this is much too good for white. So you still got some territory, but giving this Ponuki after playing p8, now you can see that this group will be a burden starting now. So black is losing control of the game at this stage. So I have the feeling up to now the game was pretty even, but this stage, not so much. So now white, yeah, this is okay. So black is actually doing a Tenuki. So I guess black can play this. There is really this question: can white play something like this? But I actually don't see a way for white to disconnect that. So of course, maybe with a move like this first, it becomes a bit more tricky. I don't know if there is something you can do, but anyway, so for now, I think there is a backdoor for white, for black, and maybe he should play it now because that's really big. But for now, he takes the stone. Okay, so as white, maybe just playing here is so big, like black is completely captured. It's at least 25 points plus because it's captured. You got a whole lot of strength on the outside. You've got 20 points at the bottom, 20 points on the left. I think white got enough with just that. Oh, actually, white plays that. So okay, so white is ahead. I think if you count this area here, it's really 15, 16, 17, 20. Yeah, it's 25. You got at least 15 here. So we've got 40 points, and let's assume this is territory here because there is a weak group at the bottom with the option of the Kosumi here. So let's for now put the border here, but you've got 20 more points, around 60 points. And the center is more white than black, I guess. You can expand easily, so 60 points. There is no Komi. On the top, black has around 40 points, but there is still some Agi. And it will be difficult to find the 20 other points. You have like 15 in the corner, but there is still some move like um, the jump at 1 and 2 to reduce the corner, so the corner won't be that big. And there is potential. So I think white is ahead at this stage. And black is protecting the corner, so it might be a bit slow. What other options do we have as black? That's the problem when the group is super strong and no, there is no more easy weak group because of the Ponuki. There is no more weak group for white. So either you try to start an invasion, but because you've got this weak group at the bottom, it's not so easy to handle. And white can just keep you separated, and it will, in a way, it will start. You know, you will start having problem all over the place. Maybe that's a way to try to get the territory balance in check for black. If you go like you try to build a center, and you can try, I don't know, something like that. But it's never easy to build a center. I mean, this, we know this will disappear at any point. So particularly with the Punuki. So maybe take points here. I don't know. You can start Yose and try to stay in the game, but the territorial balance is slightly in favor of white, I think. So this probably is a bit slow. And as white, I think I would play straight away this because it's so big. It takes the whole corner and it uses the edge of this stone. Or you can try invading. I mean, of course, white feels ahead, I guess, so he doesn't want to play that. But that's, I mean, white has no weak group, so he can invade and defend. The only thing he has to do is to go out, basically. So, or even like that. I mean, this won't die with this kind of thing and this kind of things here. White will get something out of that. So I think maybe white feel a bit more. It feels too good for black to consolidate this territory on the fourth line. And even like that, black can first try to, yeah. So I think black is playing well here. He's just taking the points, creating some, maybe threatening to swallow the 3 stone here. So black is waiting for his time. And I think white is being a bit too nice here. So this kind of move, it sounds like, okay, I'm ahead. I will just keep your territory in check and build a center. But maybe it's a bit passive. So okay, so black is taking points and white goes on taking the center, but I don't think this is center, right? Yeah. Okay, so black is trying to play a move which is both helping the bottom group and keeping the center in check, which is a good idea. I guess the key point is, can black not invade here? And that's probably what black wants to do, and he's preparing it with this additional move, because now it starts to look that the white stone on the left are slightly weak. Black could add c18. So you could see that, you can see that black got this, black got this, black got this. So black really gets stronger on the top, and now he's in a position to do something on these stones here, in a much easier way. So this kind of push, I don't think it's good. Never. You never know if you won't prefer to play this. Of course not now, but I mean, if you want to play the Keima, just play the Keima. Like, I don't think black will play here, right? So you never know if this push at g4 will not just be a pain. And you can always play it later on, I think. So, but can white not take Sante here, like something like that? I mean, as white, I would really like to have Sante now, just to consolidate this area. And I mean, with the Punuki, I wonder if you cannot just play here. So Question is that, but you've got all the ladder are good for you, so of course you might be afraid of a move like that. There are probably some ways to make the ladder good anyway. I don't know. Anyway, no need to be so greedy, but I mean, even this, I mean, black cannot really beat. There is a Punuki, so it makes life really easier for white. And this seems not the good shape. So black is very consistent. He knows he's late, so he played here, he played here, he played here, and now he plays here. And what did white get? White get this, and that's it basically. So I think black is catching up because he's taking so much points. And white is building the center, but you can see how easy it will be for black to put a stone around here and destroy it. So okay, so white, yeah, well, at least white is consistent in taking the center, in trying to take the center. Let's see what black does about it. So okay, so maybe it's not the best way to go into the center because that's so close to the Punuki. So because black is so strong, I think black can just play something like this, right? Or even like this to be closer. So I guess, oops, so I guess black white can turn, and then you can, I don't know, play something like that. I don't see this group dying like there are. So of course white will try. He can try to counter attack and attack everything, which is basically, I won't say his only hope. It's only hope because at some point I said the white was ahead, but now he has given many points to black. And the thing is, maybe black should just start with an attack, so attacking these white stones, because the key point now is that this area on the left, which used to be a territory, is now really looking like a weak group. So if you split these stones, I think white really has problems. So this move doesn't seem good because it's close to the Bonuki, which means there is no easy follow-up for white for black. Like if, of course, you will try to connect with both sides, but I mean, probably white can just like play something like that and keep most of the territory. So it's not the area where you can reduce easily. And white is going as far as he can, and it starts to help the stone on the left. So as you see, black accomplish really nothing with these two stones. So that's really a mistake here because black played, I won't say two dame, but nearly two dame. The only thing it does is it allows a connection at any point between, I think, not a perfect connection, but a good enough connection between the stone on the left and the stone on the right. So white black group is a bit less weak. But one of the key points about this group is it was a capacity to attack here. And I don't see this happening now. So okay. So white played 3, 4 very good moves, and black played a bit slow moves. So black, I think, is again slightly behind because white is getting too big a territory in the center. Okay, so black tried to reduce. I think white could maybe just take the points and be ahead, but it seems really big. And I guess black would try now to attack, but it's much more difficult now that we have some helpful stone around G12. But white wants it all, so white goes for the cut and say, okay, I will swallow you into my territory. So let's see. It's a dangerous play. It's, of course, it looks doable, but it can backfire maybe. So let's see what black does. Okay, so definitely the attack on the left is over now. White is fully connected. So now the question is, can black leave and reduce a lot of white territory to keep the balance of territory? Okay. So this is getting difficult for black at this stage. So honestly, it was not easy anyway. At this stage, I wouldn't know what's the best way to play for black to try and leave. Maybe a bit less far away, but yeah, it's very difficult to leave here. Or maybe play a less move and starts this way, or starts pushing and cutting straight away. But I mean, there is no obvious way. So here, yeah, I mean, I think black has to connect. Not sure what happens next, but this obviously when white plays here, there are too many problems for black. So let's see if this works. I don't see it working. Okay, so I think we have catch up with the game. Yeah. Yeah, so at this stage, I think it's pretty much game over, or at least it's very difficult for black to recover from the loss in the center. So just to come back, it all went very quickly because I think at this stage, black had played very well to come back into the game and might actually have been leading. And this move was really bad because it was like playing super close to the super strength of white. So it basically is nearly a dummy point. I mean, it doesn't protect the territory at the bottom and it doesn't open so much doors to the center. Because if you play this way, because there is a Ponuki, I think that's the problem with Ponukis. It's impossible to to do anything against them. So you are cut. So if you play too far away, you're cut. But if you play too close, you also have problems, right? When you don't gain anything. So we can see that this stone here at M4 is not helping black. So it's nearly a pass. And white closes the door one by one. So he just closed this one. Now he closed this one. And black plays there, which again is a dummy because it doesn't threaten. If it was Sante against the bottom group, it could be interesting. But basically, white takes more solid, more strength in the center. So we can see then after that how difficult it is for black. Just imagine these stones here is not played at L6. Maybe this sequence would not work for white, but now white is so strong all over the center that it makes it very easy for white to kill. Okay, let's see if the player are still playing. So black tries something. Okay, so there is some very fancy play by white to try and reduce the damage. So I didn't count, but at this stage, I would say white is ahead by at least nearly 30 points, I think. There is no commis, so maybe 20. It's just really a rough estimate, but I would say at least 30 points. The territory in the center is really huge. And it really happened very quickly because I think at this stage, let's say we are black. I think you have to attack basically. You can see the weakness is around here. I don't know if this is the best move because you cannot really cut, so probably it's better to play it there. this is more difficult. Like if there's a cut like that, what happens? So it probably doesn't work straight away, but we can see that now it's probably very easy to come in, because if there is, let's say, a chase or whatever happens with the stone around here, it will be so much easier. So the question is basically if the territory that white surrounds is this level, who is ahead? Considering black opened the door here, that means white territory on the left is close to 0. No, maybe let's say 5 to 10 points. Black's extended his north territory a lot, so it's close to 40, 50 points at least. And he got some, he played S3, so he got at least 15 at the bottom, or maybe not 15, but 12. So it's probably around 60 for black and maybe around 60 for white. So I think the game is really close. But then you've got one pass, two pass, and because you played two pass, you have to kind of overplay. And I mean, even without this, I don't see a good move for black, because this attack has disappeared. You can feel that you cannot go too deep. If you are not going deep enough, white will have too much points. So it's not easy at this stage. It's not easy to know what to do for black. Okay. So we were here. So basically they are playing Jose now. Okay, so black is trying to play, I would say, a funny sequence here. Um, yeah, I don't see anything. I don't see white losing this game, to be honest. He has too many points. There is no real weaknesses. So really the few central moves were game changers. So should I do a quick count? Yeah, this central territory looks too big. I don't have the energy to count that tonight. But yeah, my guess would be really a 30 points win or 25. Hey Chen, how are you doing? Hello Jin. If you have questions on the game, feel free to ask. I'm just seeing the chat now. I hope I didn't miss you. But so white, nothing can happen to white here, because if blacks connect, white can connect, and if black plays here, white can also connect. So it's not like white can die. But I think black will try. I mean, it makes sense for black to try everything. Oh, it's almost the ending. Yeah, yeah. But that was a short video, but you can review it very soon. As soon as it's over, I think it's available on the website, and I'll put it on the YouTube channel anyway. Anyone else playing? I don't see anybody playing right now, but that doesn't mean that I am here to sneak out how Irish playing. Who is Irish? White. Both players are Irish. Is John Courtney versus Eoghan, and they're both member of the AGA. So you can sneak at both player and John. Chen is also Irish, and well, you can probably ask in the Discord, Chen, if you want to play with somebody, or in the OGS group directly. Maybe some people are just looking now and looking for players too. Usually the best way to be sure there is somebody is to just mention you're looking for a game, and I'm sure somebody will be soon playing. Actually, I might be playing soon because this game is nearly over, and I think I will end up the stream at this stage. So let's do maybe a quick summary because you just joined. So I will just review quickly the main thing we have said about this game. So Black played, I would say, an active Fuseki where he wanted to attack and build a Moyo on the top. We can see with high moves. And 2 times in a row, White overplayed and Black didn't punish. So I think this extension is too far and invite a pincer, which would make a good use of the top, but Black didn't do it, which is a bit too nice for White. And then again here, White played an overextension and Black didn't invade, which I think would be a very good move. So that's two things in the beginning that were, I would say, a bit too nice for White in a way. And then here, I think Black is getting a bit impatient. So instead of protecting the cutting point, and no, White is super busy. He wants to play 1, he wants to play 2, he wants to play 3. So White has a lot of weak points to protect, and Black is super strong everywhere. Black is not really in danger, so I would go for the patient variation, but Black is going straight away for an invasion and then playing a few strange exchanges. So these moves don't really help Black so much, but help White a lot. So I think here Black is slowly losing I would say the lead of the game. And this move is slightly overplayed too. So it's inviting the Ponuki for White, and at this stage clearly White is ahead. So White has a Ponuki, so we'll be able. Basically, this whole area at the top here is not it could become a Black territory, it could be invaded, it could become a lot of things, but with a Ponuki of White here, it won't be territory because that means White can easily go out, find friends, and even if Black tries to build, it will be easy for White to invade, and there is also this kind of invasions. I'm surprised that White never played this invasion, by the way. So anyway, after this, the game goes really bad for Black because White makes too much points. But then White gets a bit overconfident and try because he's got a big amount of cash on the right, he slowly just focus on building the center, which is never a good idea. And I think he helps Black solidifying the top. And he plays a lot of slow move where he loses Sente. So now Black is recovering. So Black took the whole top, and by doing that, he also make these stones, the one with the square, much weaker. And now Black has some potential. He can attack these stones, and that will reduce the center naturally. So I think at this stage, Black was really recovering. And finally, 2 slow moves here and here. And basically, you can see 1, 2 against A and B. So the value of the moves are very easy to compare. I think 1 and 2 are basically doing nothing except connecting everybody together and not even perfectly. And A and B are surrounding 25 points of territory. So I would say this really built up a 20 points lead for White in 2 moves. And after that, it's over. So Black tries something but dies. And after that, there is nothing Black can do. He is too late on points. So except if he could find a trick somewhere, but there is not even some weak groups to trick. So they are still playing the Yose, I think. Yeah. So again, I didn't count, but I would say 30 points or 25 points lead for White. Just looking at the overall area. Quite a peaceful game. Yeah, it was really a mind game about who is in the lead, I would say, and that's funny to see that every time the one who was in the lead kind of lost track of it. So in the beginning, I think Black had a really interesting Fuseki, but he forget to take advantage of white thinness. So white played too thin 2 times, and here white shape is too thin everywhere. Like there is uh, 1 weak point, 2 weak points, 3 weak points. So black has a lot of things he can try, but if you look at the game, he just uses one, and then he consolidate white all over the place. So white takes the lead at this stage and become a bit, overconfident. And black is waiting for his chance and recovering. And at this stage, I would prefer to play black because black got a lot of cash and still got some weak groups to attack and can erode the center. So I think black really recovered nicely. And is the bottom right Joseki good for black? No, no. What makes it not good is that he didn't answer this. So well, actually, white could even take. But overall, at this stage, I mean, with this jump still here, the black got nothing basically. So we cannot really call that a Joseki. But it's because at this stage, I think it's a very important point to consolidate there. Of course, it's not mandatory to do it, but it has such a huge effect on the board because suddenly you can play later on a pincer here, or you can go out, or you can, well, just take points. And I mean, at any points, it helps any stone in the center to connect. So basically, it removes all white potential in the center, whereas as soon as you don't do it, well, let's say you play elsewhere, and the question is, can white cut? Sorry. If white can cut and black has to play underneath, that's too good for white. And we looked at what happens if there is this cut. So to be honest, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. It's a difficult combination, but I would say even if we play something super simple like this, and let's say this, even this is not really so good for just playing it to the end. So that, I mean, black didn't get much. He get just a few points in the corner, and white get the whole outside. So basically, I think the Joseki is really reasonable if black adds a stone. If he doesn't, I really don't like it too much, particularly with the stone at L3. Of course, if you remove this stone here, I don't know how you do that. Can you remove a stone? I don't know how to remove this stone. So if you remove this stone, of course, the cut is a bit less dangerous because there is potential to do things. But with this stone, it's too good. Like, I hope I answered the question. And let's catch back. Okay, so maybe there is a call, yeah. Okay. Okay, so we'll soon know the results, but they are fighting for the last call. So I'll stream up to the end so that we can announce the score and maybe check what the AI says about this game. I think white bigger. What you mentioned that white is winning, or more than 25 points win. If your question is who is winning, I think white is winning really big. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, maybe more than 25. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, I must admit I didn't count. I just felt at some point it was at least 20, 25, and maybe more. Yeah, you're probably right. It's maybe more. Okay, so they're really fighting for this co-op to the end. Who will have the more co-threats? I think black has a lot of co-threats. Actually, white might have quite a lot in the corner also near R2 and P2 and things like that. Okay, so white must absolutely be careful here. So I guess white is wondering, should I play this or should I play this? Because if you play this, maybe he's afraid of something here, but yeah. I don't think there is anything here, to be honest. Okay, he played here anyway, so. Yeah, so okay, maybe white has more threats because the, oops. Okay, yeah, that's a threat for sure. You don't want to make a mistake in the final call, just losing the game. That would be a pity. But I don't see John doing that. He's quite precise. He's reading. So yeah, I was saying white can play this kind of threads and this kind of threads. Oops. And you want to play maybe there, and this thread, this thread. So yeah, white has quite a number of threads in this corner. At least 3, I guess. And then he's got, yeah, he's playing them now. And then there is S15, so that's nearly four core threads. Okay, that's the last. Okay, so P2 is a nice core thread. S15 is a nice core thread. Black got S10 and maybe T9, so actually 2 other core threads. These guys have a lot of core threads, but definitely this will not be a half pointer. Ooh, is this a threat? I don't think it is. So let's say white connects. I guess black wants to try that. So of course, if white plays this, there is a problem. But white can probably just play this, and I don't see a follow-up. So maybe this doesn't even work, right? And then what? I mean, black can try, but okay. So actually, we'll see because white did say that there was nothing. So oh, so they are counting now. Yeah, so that will be a nearly 50 points win. 47 points. So what does AI said? AI said that, oh, actually, that's very interesting. So at this stage, when I said that white had taken the lead and was playing too nicely, well, the AI says that the game was actually even. Black was ahead by half a point. So that's very interesting. For me, this position is really good for white because he's got solid cash and because there is this invasion here. So I would definitely play as white here, but actually black is still ahead. So we were right that black had a good Fuseki, but this trade here was not so bad for black. So, but clearly then when white play this sequence, as we said, it's too nice to black, and black takes the lead. So let me check that. And so when does black lose the lead? Yes, here. So this move and this move, yeah. So at this stage, actually, that's surprising. So black is still not so bad according to the AI. So I would say, so basically it all comes down to this reduction that failed. Hey, John. So that's congratulations on the game, guys. Well done. Actually, very, very. At this time, I'm reviewing and I'm at this move, and at this stage, the game is still very even according to the AI. So I'm surprised because I thought when Black played M4 and J5, which were slow and actually are losing a lot of points. I thought the game was really very much in your favor, but it's just slightly in your favor, which means probably Black has a much more accurate move to reduce, but I don't see which one. Maybe, I don't know, something like that, something more aggressive to the weaknesses. I think it all comes down to what Black can do on this stone. And to answer your question about the top left end game, okay, it's too early, but I don't see it as an end game. I see it as a way for Black to be able to attack this stone. So if Black can invade at c10 and leave, for example, or then the white stones are floating, or so that makes all the reduction in the center much easier to try. Because if you look at the AI, or actually I was showing on the wrong game, so you probably don't know what I was talking about. I was showing on the real game instead of the review. So what I was saying is at this stage, the fact that you can invade here makes all the invasion around this area much easier to handle. Yes, C10, yeah, that was key. I think it was really key. And that's why B17 doesn't look too early for me, not because it's a big end game, but because it's making your stones very weak, and in a way it has an impact on the center. It makes invasion in the center quite possible. So that's my big surprise from the AI review, to discover that at this stage, Black is still in the game. I thought 1 and 2 were definitely like too passive. I was thinking to make the center strong, so if sit-in happens, I can have string in the center for the loop. Yeah, yeah, true. But if Black can invade the center and you have to worry about this left-hand side group in a way, you will lose the center, and Black has a lot of points, so the game would still be playable for Black. I guess that's what I think. So if I look at the AI again, just to understand what goes wrong. Yeah, so I guess basically black should have tried to find a way to leave, but yeah, I don't have Katago installed to check all the variations and see how black could have handled this invasion. But I guess h8 was not the best, because when black plays h8, it becomes a game in white favor. So yeah, really I don't know what's the key point here. It's difficult to know. It's typically the kind of things AI knows how to do and human don't. So maybe this, because maybe you can try that with the Panuki, and maybe on the other side, really. Or maybe just push and cut. The idea being always the same, that you might be able to have something around here. So whatever happens in the top, like let's say you cut. Now, can you play something like that? Or first you go out, and now you play something like that, just to put, I don't know, I don't see a very good sequence for black, though. That's why I thought the game was good for white, but AI seems to think it's okay, so. By the way, I thought M4 and G5 were slow too when I saw them in the game. Yeah. They are not only slow, they're not, I think they're not in the good direction. Like it's your strongest part of the board, so M4, sorry, and G5 are like, for me, it's nearly like two pass. Not exactly two pass because it connects the black group, but I think really at this stage, black needs to be super active and play in the center. So maybe just a brutal invasion around the tank and something like that. And I think if black plays this way, the game is still very much in his favor, or at least in a very even position. Okay, I think I will stop there for the stream. So thank you all for watching. Congrats to John for the massive victory, but we could see that it all ended up being due to one fight. So that was a very tight game up to move. What move? I don't know. Move 80, something like that. And then when black get captured, the game became too difficult. So see you for another stream.